Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn. We are back out here in my woodlot working on roads. This is a 45-acre woodlot, which is a couple miles from my house. The last time we worked on this road, we cleared up to basically where the four-wheeler is. So the excavator's there warming up. And we're close to the end of where I cut for the road last winter, which actually curved here to the left and went down. But as I was thinking of it, I think I might have mentioned it at the end of the last video, is it seems as though the terrain is a little more favorable going straight. And instead of using those green ribbons, which show up really well when there's snow on the ground, but not so well when there's green leaves all around, I went down and I flagged where the new road location should go with the pink. The pink I normally reserve for my property boundaries, so when I'm done that, obviously the trees will likely come down anyhow. Take the pink ribbon down. So there's some nice trees like this super nice hard maple right in front of us. I'll retain that. There's some ash, which are probably not log quality. The ash emerald borer here in northern Vermont has not really done a lot of damage yet, but it's on our doorstep, so any ash I have to take down is probably just ash that I won't have to worry about later when we do get the infestation. So it just appears as though it's a more milder grade going straight rather than to the left and then to the right, and I can avoid a sharper curve. We'll still have to bend the road a little bit to get, back to where the green ribbons are further down, but I think it'll be a better terrain that way. So, and it's cool. I don't think it's supposed to be above 60 today, so I have my coveralls on. I do have my chainsaw pants underneath, and I am going to use the chainsaw, because instead of having the trees already cut, I'm going to have to push them down. I'll cut them up into logs, set them aside, sort of at the same time as I grade out the road, remove stumps, things like that. So we have a little bit here. This is actually pretty good. I'll probably just ride the blade down here to sort of fill in any of the gullies, scrape off any of the humps. Maybe there's some old stumps, I think, that'll just disintegrate when I ride over them. There might be some small stumps to dig out. But the real work will begin when I get down here with these beech trees. And most of the beech on this property have this beech bark disease, which looks like this. But there are some specimens. In fact, there are some down there, the clump, that does not have this disease. This one has it. This one does a little bit, but you can see, what the bark sort of should look like. That's the disease. The younger trees generally don't get it, like this one, although this one does here. So the other thing, there were some humps. I think they're just soil like that down there rather than big rocks. But we'll see. And it does seem as though I have a fair amount of dirt to work with, so I can push down here and fill in some of those big dips and make for a rather smooth road as it'll curve here this way to the left, where that one curved to the right. We'll end up in the same spot. So this rock here, yeah, that's just a small rock. Sometimes you see something poking out of the ground like that and it's part of a much bigger rock, but really don't know until you get there. going to need quite a bit of dirt because there's some pretty deep dips in here. Right there. But old stumps like this, probably 50 or more years old, they are just basically just dirt. Smaller rocks like this will be good to sort of hide in these dips. Right there. Be able to cover that up quite easily. Even though we had 3/4 of an inch of rain here within the last week, the ground is still real powdery dry. I'd like to drop this tree to the left. That's why I'm digging out the roots to the right. Allow it to fall that way, but we'll see how good I am because the swing on this, I guess like most excavators, the swing force is not that significant. Not quite ready. Just keep it out of the way, and then I get a couple down like that, then I'll go cut them up. Otherwise it'd be right in my way and I'd have to stop and go cut it up and then work on the excavator again and then cut it up. Try to get all the dirt that I can out of here because dirt is always at a premium when I'm making these roads. I've talked several times in these videos about dirt being a premium when I'm doing this sort of work, which is different than, say, if I was making a driveway for a house through the woods, because generally you take a much wider swath, you'd leave room on the sides for ditches or maybe some area to mow on each side of the driveway. But here this is just really a skid trail, sort of a trail in the woods, and I don't want to damage any more trees than I need to, because the purpose of this whole activity is forest management. So if I damage trees, then I'm sort of damaging the asset that I'm trying to manage. I see this old stump here, has a newer one right there, but a clump of dirt I will use. Having a little bit of a ditch or the road being a little bit higher is good, but I don't want to have it so high that it's sort of an inconvenient drop off if I was to ride off the road just a little bit in the wintertime. Beach here, I think it's just easiest to push it forward. Try to tip it off to the left of the other one. I can drag it out probably. Out of the way. Well, you fell off at some point during that last little bit of taking that birch tree down. I'm not sure how much you saw. That's the sort of the twin beech that's cut up. You just got to put that up there. So I have quite a hole here, and like I said, I don't want to dig much where the excavator is because I'll interrupt the roots of that nice tree. So there's a hump of dirt there I'll steal. Probably take a little bit here on this side of the excavator. But what I ended up doing is actually taking some dirt from, over there, sort of dragging it back this way. Because I have the hole that was here already. Now I have the extra hole of where the stump was. This birch tree. So I filled in a good part of this hole that's right there where the bucket is. But actually the road is going to sort of favor the left-hand side, so I need to take down this ash tree. It's rather sizable, at least by my standards, as far as taking down trees to make roads. Try to follow it sort of in the direction that it's already leaning, which should be clear of any other significant trees. To bring with me was a chain. I could wrap around the tree and sort of drag it backwards. Well, there's the root hole. I think I'll cut this off, get rid of the root, cut this up into 16-foot sections. I did over there for a couple. And then these next few trees here, this beech I wanted to take out, but it's sort of stuck in the crotch of this other birch, so I cut that, so it's ready to go. I cut this, that's ready to go. So there's a lot of precarious trees here. So anyhow, I'll cut these up and we'll come back when I try to take these things down, see if that generates any excitement. Most of that ash tree is taken care of. I think I still have a couple lengths straight ahead over there. The others have sort of rolled up against that birch. I took down that dead cherry that was right here where the bucket is. I stole a little bit of dirt from over here where there was just a little bit of a hump. Some of these low areas here, just like that, where that cherry was, that big ash. So now I'm going to see if I can take care of this jumbled mess of stuff. I don't know what will come down when I do this. That's what Meatloaf says. So make it 3 out of 3. That gives me more to cut up before I can do much more because it's in the way otherwise. I am back after about a 7-day hiatus for the pleasure of serving on jury duty for an abnormally long trial, at least for our area. Normally trials are 1 day. This one was 6 days, 1 day for the jury pick and then 6 days of trial. Anyhow, so we left off basically right here. So that's the last tree I cut. You can see the pink ribbon. I took one down that was right here, but there's one over there. I think we go through these small stands here of beech. Okay, there's one there hiding behind the beech tree. I'll see if I can grab those firewood logs, set them off to the side nearby these other ones. Got one there. And I can't remember if I plan to take this ash down or not. This one's a real nice one, even though we have the emerald ash borer on our doorsteps. Might as well leave nice ones until I absolutely have to take them down. And we have this little knoll here which will help to fill in some of the divots. You can see here it's sort of rough, although the leaves sort of obscure it a bit. But there was quite a big sort of a dip here, but that's filled in relatively nicely. As you might be able to imagine, it's difficult to maneuver these 16-foot stems in and amongst the trees that are still standing that I don't want to take down. So my frustration level here is beginning to rise a little bit. I am quickly losing favor with this method of making roads. I know in the past I've talked about sort of my two methods. One is to clear all the trees in the wintertime, get the trees out of the way, and then come back in the summer with the excavator, remove the stumps, remove the rocks, smooth things out. And doing it as I'm doing now, which is sort of taking the trees down with the excavator, taking the roots up at the same time, and then just pushing the logs aside. But what I'm coming to realize is that switching back and forth between excavation and cutting wood is, well, the weather has to be right, because cutting wood in the summertime like this, just getting out, limbing a tree, cutting it to size, can be sweaty. I mean, it's good weather now, but I think this is a little bit abnormal for this time of year. And the other thing is just switching back and forth and never seem to sort of get into a rhythm. It's, you never really get any momentum. When I'm just cutting trees and clearing a road, things seem to happen quickly. With the tractor and the cable winch, it just seems a lot more efficient if I can just do that. And it seems more efficient when I'm coming through with the excavator just to dig out stumps, move earth, move rocks, things like that, instead of switching back and forth. And plus now with the leaves on, it does make it a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I hadn't really had this feeling before like this, but now I do. But you've seen, in this one video, you'll have seen sort of both methods, aside from the winter cutting part, but I do have videos on that. Well, I didn't spend a lot of time up here. I have a service to go to here this afternoon, so I gotta quit now. But I think I have decided the time I was up here, basically where, the dirt is, where the leaves aren't covering anymore. This is the amount of progress we made, but I did generate a lot of firewood, and I think that's part of the issue, part of the problem I have, is that I'm spending so much time cutting up trees, which I could easily do in the dead of winter, and not utilizing that time, working in the dirt, which is much more limited to dry times in the summer, at least around here on this type of property, this type of soil. So yeah, at least for areas where there's a significant amount of larger trees, I have come to the conclusion that it's much easier to take the trees down during the winter time and come back in the summer and sort of finish up the road. So I think I'm done with this little experiment for now. Except you're not going to be able to see the grade very well on video, but I'm going to have to, right there you can see a pink ribbon there, pink ribbon there. I'm going to have to take down this big hump of dirt because I would not be able to make it over that with my tractor in the wintertime. So several large trees will come down here. Particularly here, since I don't have many roots around it. There's a maple there, but that's far away. I think what I probably will end up doing, and I don't think I'm going to record this because I have better things, I think, to video, is just cut these trees down ahead of time, work them up, move them out of the way, and then worry about the roots. But we'll see. That's another day. I may sleep on it and decide something different. But the next time we'll be up here, either we'll be collecting the logs, so I have enough firewood here for, a trailer load to bring my tractor up here to get these back to the house and process them for next winter. But the next significant amount of work down here is going to be in the wintertime, cutting down the trees, establishing where the road's going to go. But I do have the other thing that's on my mind is I have other dirt work projects that I want to get done with the excavator before I run out of time here. November can be touch and go, whether you can do dirt work or not. And I don't want to waste my time here with the excavator idle, me trimming up trees, when I could be using this doing other things that can only be done this time of year. So, I hope you'll join me back in whatever that next project happens to be, but I appreciate you tagging along for this video. Thank you very much.